Welcome to the Mindset Architect podcast, where it's all about creating the life you want, the business you want, and making a real difference. Join us in unlocking the code to true success. And now your host, Tony Caliendo, Master Coach with reTHINK Coaching.
Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, episode number 59. I'm Tony Caliendo, Master Coach here at reTHINK Coaching. And as always, I just want to start by thanking you for sharing your time with me. Time truly is our greatest asset, and the fact that you're sharing your time with me does not go unnoticed. So thank you so much for being here. Gosh, what a great time of year. I don't know where you are in the world. I am in a place that has seasons. And today I had the privilege of going for a hike up in the mountains in an area with an aspen pass that is just brilliantly gorgeous right now. The aspen trees are putting on quite a show, and it makes you feel great knowing that there is change in the air. And I think that is nature has such a great way of preparing us sometimes for change. At least it does for me. I'm looking at this year as it's coming to an end. I mean, we are in the middle of the month of the fourth quarter of the year. However, for those of us who are in sales, real estate agents, entrepreneurs, we have a sales calendar or a sales cycle that we must honor. So some of us, it's a 60-day sales cycle from the moment we get the lead till the lead closes. And so our sales calendar is rapidly closing. Most of us November 1 to November 15, and we're off and running into the new year. So it is truly more than just nature showing us how wonderful it is to allow change to happen and drop our leaves. It is happening for us in our business as well. So I want to talk about that because it is so important right now as we are casting our future vision, our future goals, and writing I like to call it our life plan. Some people call it a business plan. I think that they're together because whatever my business creates impacts my life. However, we're in that phase of creating what we intend to have for our upcoming year. And two things can happen when we're doing this that I want to talk about today. I want to talk about information overwhelm, and I want to talk about analysis paralysis, because both of those things can be happening to us daily, much let alone when we are our reticular activators. Our brain is seeking different ways of doing things, that we really can have this show up more than at any other time of year. And I just want to protect you from it, because those two things, it can be really good and they can be really bad. And so I want to start with analysis paralysis. All right. So I remember early on when I first ventured into being an entrepreneur myself back in 2001, that this happened to me, this analysis paralysis would happen to me because I was so freaking determined to be successful. And I was so determined to outperform other people in my industry, that I, though, would get into these moments in my head where I was just overanalyzing everything. What if, how? And I would spend time in this to the point that it would become a bit crazy, like so much that I wouldn't take action because I was just busy overanalyzing, looking at it through this lens and then dissecting that. And then, oh my gosh, all these things have come up when I look at it through that lens. And now what about these things, and analyzing that? And that spurred, and it was just this ongoing analysis paralysis. And it kept me from taking action. What I've learned as I've moved in my career with mindset and thought work, mind management, is it's really the brain's way of sometimes protecting you from taking action, because if you fail by analyzing, that's one thing. But because you didn't take action, right? So it's really not your fault. You were busy being strategic. But if I allowed myself to take action and failed, then it really is kind of my fault. So our brain can trick us into spending a lot more time in this analysis phase. Now, in this time of year, when we're forecasting and planning for our future, does require analysis. We really do need to spend some time We just can't get stuck here. So things that you should consider analyzing as we move forward, if you're moving forward towards quarter one of a new year, or you're listening to this and you just need a fresh start or a start to do things bigger, some things that we should be analyzing are all of the wins and the losses that we experienced over the last 12 months, last 9 months, whatever you want to do. Take a look at that, depending on how you want to look at your calendar year, and really analyze what worked, because we want to continue to do that and maybe plus that a little bit, and spend some time in analyzing what didn't work, analyzing the losses, because there's a lot of great stuff in that, and spend some time with that and decide what we're going to do the same and what we're going to do differently, and analyze it. Now, here's what can happen sometimes when we look at the losses and we think, well, if I plus my lead generation with this type of activity, that would be different. And we analyze it a little bit. We might get stuck in analyzing the how, or analyzing how would it work for me. And I don't want you to do that right now. I just want you to analyze what you've done that worked, what you've done that didn't work. The other thing that I would like for you to analyze so that we can bust through and have a phenomenal upcoming year is spending some time with what is the one thing that if you did would make the biggest difference in your business. I think of Gary Keller's book, The One Thing, where he talks about, what's one thing that if you did it would make everything else easier or unnecessary. So basically, what's the one domino that if you knocked over would knock over the rest because you're taking care of this one big thing. And I love that part of analysis right now, is to sit with that and get honest with yourself about what you could do differently, just one thing that would make the biggest difference. And you can't be just a little teeny tiny thing like, oh, I should call 22 people instead of 20. No. What is the one big thing that's really your roadblock? What is the thing that you're doing that is preventing you from moving forward? This is such a powerful question. My coach recently asked me that question as we're rolling out some different programs within reTHINK. We're doing some group coaching opportunities because not everybody's in a position to be in a one-on-one coaching relationship with us from a financial perspective. And we're crafting a new path forward in the group. And it's taking a whole different approach for us as a company. And my coach asked me that one question: what is one thing, just one thing that you are not doing, or that is you're interfering in your own success, that if you just did would make all the difference in the world? And we came up with what it was. And we've already started to implement it. It has to do with marketing. We've already started to implement it, and we're starting to see results because we took time to analyze what worked, what didn't work, and what's one thing that I am not doing that if I did would clear a path for success or better success. So analysis is important. Just don't get stuck. I've seen so many people getting ready to get ready that they go out of business. I see this happen sometimes in newer agents, but I've seen it happen with really successful agents as they're looking to grow into a team, or looking to sell their business, or looking to do something really big, is they get in this paralysis mode where they are just stuck going down a rabbit hole of analysis after analysis and protecting themselves by not taking action. So they think, and they're actually harming themselves. So analysis, really pay attention to it. It's a great time of year to analyze everything, to kind of ask the questions, why, and to spend some time in the wins and the losses. I love that part of analysis. Just don't get stuck and not move forward. The other thing that I see happening, and I am not immune to this either, is information overload or information overwhelm. And what I would be fascinated to trade spots with somebody's Facebook feed. I take yours, you take mine, just to see what's showing up. And I will tell you, as a coach who coaches real estate agents and entrepreneurs, primarily real estate agents who are entrepreneurs, my feed is full of how to grow my coaching business and how to grow as a real estate agent. It is full of it. And I will tell you, for me, there are times when things were coming up where I'm like, well, no, I'm not doing anything on LinkedIn. I never thought about doing advertising on LinkedIn. Should I be doing advertising on LinkedIn? And I go down this bunny trail. Or this thing about Instagram, you've got to do this first, that first, call to action, do this, do that, use a keyword that people can get a link to automatically. Just start going down these bunny trails because information is coming at us at such a rapid pace. And I mean, I think about the amount of information that we process now on the daily, on the hourly, by the minute, by the second, that can move us into this information overwhelm really, really quickly. And remember, your brain is excited about the future. It's really not sure how you're going to get there. And so it is seeking a way to protect you. And part of that can be the analysis part, but the other part can be, let's get distracted with all these different ways that we can do stuff and go down the information overload path, because then I have a whole lot of stuff to process. And it's okay because I appear to be busy and I'm processing this and it's just overwhelm. You're just creating the space of overwhelm. How do I handle this? And this is what I recommend to my one-on-one clients. And this is coming from a coach. So I want you to hear me. I have three distinct ways that I am growing my business as a coach and growing reTHINK coaching as a company. Three ways. And I focus on those three ways. What I have seen happen to a lot of agents and entrepreneurs out there is they are in all of these different groups, all of these different masterminds, all of these different webinars they're going to, all of these different coaches they're listening to, all these different podcasts they're listening to, and they are unintentionally overwhelming themselves with possibilities and options. What I would highly recommend that you do is honor your three sources or the three ways that you are going to generate leads, and only go to masterminds, webinars, podcasts, coaches that are supporting one or all of those three ways. Typically, it's just one, and investing your time there because that is our focus. And let the other stuff go because it's only human to be like, well, should I be doing that? Am I missing out by not doing that? I've never done that before, but maybe it does kind of make sense. And Susie over there is having great success with it. So I should probably just listen. And then we start doing that game to ourselves. So the quickest way out of information overwhelm or overload is just to take a step back, honestly look at how many things are you invested in? How many organizations, how many groups, how many masterminds, how many webinars, how many podcasts, how many coaching programs are you in? How many coaches do you have? All of that. And just really start to shed off the ones that are not speaking the same language in terms of focused on your three primary sources of business. So for real estate agents, let's just say it's database, open houses, and networking. Those are my three ways that I'm going to get to my lead. They're tried and true. I do really well at them. I've got some, after analyzing, I got some opportunity. And then I go to a webinar about door knocking. I'm not quite sure how that supports the three that I'm doing, or circle prospecting, or geo farming, or whatever else you want to do, running ads. You start to get things muddy and messy for yourself. But if I was investing time, I've got my coaches, and I do have two coaches. I've got a coach that helps me with my business and mindset. That's the type of coaching that I provide to clients. So naturally, that's the type of coach I want. And then I have a health coach. So I've got those two areas covered. And I'm very intentional if I join a webinar or I join a group of coaches to do a mastermind with, that we are on the same page. Because if not, I am just a human who's going to get overwhelmed and get enticed to try some different things and take my eye off of the prize of the three things that I do. And so for you as a real estate agent, you might all of a sudden decide, well, I'm going to do that geofarming. I mean, I've never done it before and need to do it. Here's the newsflash for you. Geofarming is expensive, and geofarming takes at least 6 to 9 months to start to see a return. And so we've got to be cautious about where we're investing our time and making sure that it is in the right lane. The other thing that I want to caution you about is as we're going through this, right, we're analyzing and we're being cautious about the information that we're taking in. And I do love that you can trick your own algorithm by just liking and clicking on things that are in your lanes, and you'll suddenly just get more of that. But what I want to caution us to is that if we decide that, hey, we've gotten to a mastery level with database, open house, and networking, and I do want to grow my business, so I'm going to have to look at adding another source of lead generation. Okay, so we go out and we explore, we talk to our coach, we make a decision that we're going to supplement it or add to it, never replace, add to it an activity that we've never done before. We are so programmed, and it's happened gradually and suddenly, of instant gratification. Think about it. When I was a kid, I'm going to date myself, you would order something, it would take 2 to 3 weeks to come to you. Now, Amazon Prime. Now, Target, Walmart, Nordstrom's, Neiman, all of them have next day delivery. Amazon Prime has same day delivery depending on where you live. When I lived in Austin, it was the freakiest thing. I'd order something and I could have it within 2 hours. And a couple times it showed up within 30 minutes at my door. And I'm like, somebody living in the hallway? But we have become very conditioned to instant gratification, texting, direct messaging, all of that. And when we go to plus what we're doing, we fall prey to, well, I've done it for 2 weeks and it didn't work. Susie over there is crushing it and she's getting all these leads. I've done it for 2 weeks and it's not working and I'm frustrated. What you don't know is that Susie's been doing it for 6 months, or it's been her constant source of lead generation since the day she got into the business. It's going to take you a minute. So don't get caught up in, when we do this analysis and we are gathering information, do not get caught up in the instant gratification world that we live in when it comes to your business. I promise you, do it a couple tweaks, you can see movement, especially if you're tweaking in areas that you're already performing in. So for that example, that agent doing database, open house, and networking, if we analyzed those 3 areas and we asked the question, what's one thing in each one of those areas that if you did differently would, and we started to do that, you might see results pretty quick because you're already at a mastery level. You're already doing it. You're just plussing a little bit. But if it's a ground up activity and it is something that I have analyzed and made a decision about, and I've gathered the right information about, and I'm not getting instant results, you have to be okay with that. Do not slide back into analysis paralysis. Do not slide back into, well, I'm just going to go listen to 50 other people do something else. Allow it to run its course for a moment to see if it's going to work. I always say 90 days minimum for any new activity. 90 days. And most of us will drop it in 2 to 3 weeks, less than a month. And we just haven't given things an opportunity to come to fruition. So if you do your analysis and you choose a different path and you've gathered information and you know how you're going to move forward and you don't get the result in 2 weeks, show yourself a little bit of grace and allow yourself to stay true to the decision you made. That's the other element of all of this that's really important for us to just spend a minute on in discussing. Because we want instant gratification, because we so desperately want our business to grow quickly, and we are entrepreneurs, dang it, and we love fast-paced things. We like to shake it up a little bit. We want to see these results. What I want to invite you to think about is your decision-making process. Do you have a solid decision-making process? I am a coach who sells programs on social media. I know that it's easy to attract somebody on the potential. But what must take place and what I do before I invest in any program out there, A, is that in alignment with my activities, and B, what is the impact? Like at the end of the 60 days or the end of the 90 days, what is the result that they can share with you that most people are getting, and take a look at that and making my decision based upon that, not upon the feel good, not upon the excitement, not upon the new flashy idea, or not upon the fact that Betty Sue's doing great, is really analyzing it and making sure that the outcome and the result and the path you're going to take to get there is appropriate, and then make a decision and stop looking at other things. Stop. Become really congruent with that decision. So, in summary, team, it's the time of year for us, or it might be your time of year. I don't care if it's January 5th or July 7th when you listen to this. I don't care. You may be at a place where you're making a decision to do things differently or to grow your business. First thing is spend some time analyzing. Spend some time looking at the wins and the losses. Spend really good quality time and analyzing and extracting information and doing something with it. Do not get stuck in analysis paralysis. Number two, if you've mastered and we need to plus it, then look at the lead generation sources that you're currently using and figure out how we could plus those, because we've already been doing them and they're working. We just want to work at a little bit higher level, and potentially look at adding another source in. So that makes us go out and collect information and learn about other ways. The thing I will say to not do is to invest your time in gathering information about activities that don't apply to what you're doing or what you want to do. The other thing to get out of analysis paralysis and information overload is, where are you investing your time? Is your coach clear on what you want to be focused on, and are they helping you move forward focused in those areas? Are you spending time in masterminds, webinars, short programs, which I love? Short group coaching programs are phenomenal, but are they in alignment with what you're doing, or is it some random idea because somebody else is having success that you're going to go sit through it? It's not even anything that you do. And we get overwhelmed because we've got this 5 a.m. call with this person. We've got a noon call on Fridays with this person. We've got this webinar, this mastermind, and we are just flooding ourselves with useless information. I say this because I want to create a visual for you. My coach did this for me, and it helped make the most amount of sense for me. Where our brains are like a sponge. And I don't know if you've ever run water on a sponge. It will absorb, and then it will start to repel, and the water will bounce off of it or flow off of it because you can't absorb anymore. When you are putting yourself in these positions of learning what I consider to be useless information, has nothing to do with your goal and your focus, you're just pouring water on the sponge. And what you're actually doing is preventing information that could help you in your focus areas. You're preventing it from entering. So you may have to pick up the sponge right now and wring it out, get all the stuff out that doesn't apply to you, and only allow into your brain what is important for you to focus on. So if I'm that agent, it's going to be on database, it's going to be on networking, and it's going to be on open houses. And that's where I'm going to invest my time with a coach, with a mastermind, with a webinar, with a 2-week program, a 4-week program, an 8-week program, whatever it is. Is it focused on one of those 3 areas? And am I going to learn from it to help me do better in those areas? Or is it about some total random thing that I'm not doing that's going to distract me from what I should be focused on? So you may have to wring out the sponge. And I've personally had to do this several times because I'm so excited about reTHINK Coaching growing. We are doing some different things, and I have gone down this path with myself before. I'm like, oh my gosh, I should try LinkedIn ad. I should try this. I should try that. I should do this. And I've lost sight of the things that work for us. And I saturated my sponge, information overwhelm, and I was actually repelling things that were going to help me. So don't put yourself in that position. I have to ask myself every once in a while, is it time to wring out the sponge? And I do it probably quarterly. And I just sit down with myself and make sure that the information I'm allowing in is appropriate. That's it. It's really that simple. So pay attention to those things. Once you make a decision, stick with it. Don't allow yourself to get, seduced into it's not working. You better change it. Try something else for 30 days and then go do this and go that. Make a decision and stick with it. Minimum 90 days. 6 months is probably really preferred. But a minimum of 90 days, it gives us some time to analyze what's going on. If you are feeling overwhelmed, or you are feeling like moving forward with a business plan that will support you, help you figure out what you should be doing differently in the areas you're already excelling in, and maybe looking at plussing it, please reach out. We are helping our one-on-one clients right now create a phenomenal life plan for 2025 so that they can be focused and be certain of what direction they're going. Do not be overwhelmed. I think it's one of the greatest privileges that I have as a coach to help somebody create their future, whether it's the next 12 months, 24, 36, 48, 60, whatever that is. It's truly an honor to step into that space with people and help them and watch it unfold. So please reach out. Tony@rethinkcoaching.com is my email. Tony M. Caliendo is my Instagram handle. Tony Caliendo is my Facebook. You can find me if you just Google me. I'm not hard to find. You'll even find my cell phone number out there. And if you're so inclined, send me a text. I don't care. I will happily give you a 1-hour strategy call. And if it's just to talk about business plan, that's what we'll do for the hour. You tell me what you need and we'll get you there. So don't get stuck. Don't get frustrated. Really, really, really look at this as your life unfolding. One of my favorite mentors said this to me one day, and it was really the kick that I needed, that your life and your business is happening and your story is being written. The question is, who is holding the pen? If you are letting it happen to you, somebody else is writing your story. If you're ready to pick up your pen and write your story for 2025 or your next 3, 6, 9, 12 months, regardless of when you listen to this podcast, reach out. Pick up your pen. What a cool privilege to get to write your story. Team, I look forward to seeing you next week. I would love to hear from some of you who got something from this podcast, just one thing that is going to help you as you move forward with your business plan for your upcoming year. I'd love to hear from you. Even if you don't need anything, just shoot me a note. It's always rewarding to get messages from people who listen to the podcast, who are willing to share their success. So go make it a great week. 'Tis the season, people. It is time for change, and it is a beautiful thing. We'll talk to you in a week. Go make it a good one. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you must come check out the Mindset Architect Group Coaching Program. It's our monthly program where we explore the power of your mindset, help you identify what you truly want in business and life, and then help you reach those goals. Come check us out at rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. That's rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. We'll see you there.